Is Dell taking a page out of Apple's playbook or losing its originality? We're going to explore the controversy. You're looking at it actually. Dell, Dell Pro, and Dell Pro Max. Today's video is brought to you by Brain.fm, science-backed focus music that sounds great, by the way. You can check it out, linked up down below. Dell's rebranding their computer lineup to be more like Apple's iPhone naming. It's weird. Why would you get rid of something that's so recognizable like Dell XPS and then directly copy the nomenclature of one of your competitors, which is kind of like signaling defeat in a way. It's just like admitting, hey, someone did something either A, original, or B, that we like better than what we're doing. It just smells of being really pathetic. Now, I'm not saying anything about Dell computers. I know a lot of people have Dells and they like their Dells. That's cool. I don't care about that. But the naming thing, this is just weird. The real problem for Dell, and actually the win for Apple, is that branding in any sector, much less tech, is crucial because it influences consumer perception, market positioning, etc. So it's kind of like advertising for Apple, even though this has more to do with Apple's phone lineup. So on the one hand, you're sort of, by adopting this, almost doing some advertising for Apple because Apple spent all this time drilling into people's minds, Pro, Pro Max, etc. When you think those, you think Apple, sort of like rollerblades back in the day. People thought inline skates were rollerblades, but rollerblades was a brand name and inline skates could have been rollerblades or a different brand, but everyone just said rollerblades. It's the same thing here. Why would you do this? Dell is actually getting super mocked for this. Although, let's be fair, some people on X are like, hey, the naming conventions here are simpler. It's more obvious what sort of performance each laptop provides. Yeah, I think so, but there's a reason why Apple did that in the first place, and you just can't do this. You can't just come out and copy. I mean, you can, but you shouldn't. Most people, almost universally, say that it's cringy. It's super cringe. I think the real bummer here, if you're Dell, is like, this is gonna confuse your customers. I mean, yeah, it's simpler and it's more straightforward, but it's just like you've given away a piece of your soul that you spent years and years and years cultivating. It's not like there were no Dell fans out there. You know, people knew like the XPS line was a premium brand of PCs, right? Of laptops. And now that's just gone. Like they flushed it. For what? I mean, especially if you're not Apple and you are running Windows and you're in the PC realm, your brand is everything. Like everything's so similar on the PC side of things. What you have is your brand. And then if you're like, well, no, we'll just give that away too. It doesn't seem to make a whole lot of sense. I mean, there must have been some reason why Dell did this that everyone's missing, that I'm not seeing, that the commenters are not seeing. I'm pretty sure they were like openly mocked at the announcement at CES. I mean, honestly, Apple gets copied all the time. But I think to look at this through a different lens, it's interesting to think of what company out there in the tech space gets copied the most. You know, it's not Dell. We'll just put it like that. In fact, I would make the case it probably is Apple. You got all these Chinese companies who just flat out rip off Apple's looks and, everything about it. Huawei is really bad about that, although they're starting to branch out a little bit more too. But just because this rebrand coincides with Dell's partnership with AMD to integrate Ryzen AI processors, that doesn't make this an ideal time to rip off Apple's naming. I don't think there's ever a good time to do that. I don't know if they're going to reverse course here, do something different. I'm assuming that they've already spent a ton of money on this. And so, man, it just seems like a losing proposition one way or another. Really want to know what your thoughts are on this. If you're an Apple person, what are you thinking? Are you laughing? Are you mad? If you're not, like, if you use Dells, I mean, what are you thinking? I just want to take a brief second and let you know about our sponsor today, Brain.fm. I love Brain.fm. I'm literally never without this app on my Mac, on my iPhone, wherever I go, because it just sounds so good. But it's not just about the sound. Brain.fm is science-based, science-backed, and it will help you actually concentrate better. So it actually works as fast as just 5 minutes. And I love the interface. And it just really has quite an effect. Check it out. As you can see, people really love it. And if you check the link down in the description, you get 30 days free.